Good morning, this is Andy, and it is 2:30. It's kinda late, but I'm gonna make a tutorial anyway and talk about tiling textures. Yeah. So, I need to make a tiling concrete texture for this thing I'm working on. And yeah, let's go to concrete. Yeah, this one. Let us try this. Alright, so we've got that texture loaded up here, and it is ginormous. Almost 3K. Whoops. Let's make a 512 map. Bring that back in. I don't know why I did that, but control copy and paste it in here. Scale it. And if you start to see like a pattern in the bricks that you kind of, or these lines that you can kind of match up, might be a good idea. See if you can do that. Here we kind of have it. Maybe do something like that. That looks good. Alright, and now these are not. I don't even need to do that. Yeah, that's not very straight. Doesn't have to be, but I guess that's a bit straighter than I thought. But I'd like to do a warp. Just fix that a little bit. Alright, that's good. I need to clear guides. Alright, so next, this is a really good trick for tiling textures. High pass. This takes like all of the large frequency information out of the texture, so you're just left with the high frequency detail, and you can adjust this so you're just bringing in more and more high frequency detail into the image until you get it to a point where you think it's good. I think right around in here I start to get that gradient of shading again, which I don't want. It helps you tile it a lot more convincingly if you don't have any sort of, noticeable big changes in your image. Alright, so that looks good. And then, right now is a good time to do our offset by 256 with wraparound. So we can, whoops, actually we need to do Control A, Control C, and then Control V so that we crop out the image that was outside of the bounds, so we can actually do the offset properly. Alright, now that we have that, then we'll just go in with this clone stamp and clone out some of that. Looks retarded. Actually, it's really hard to see any detail here. I'm gonna actually level this first, I think, because it doesn't look the best. So I'm gonna bring that in. Alright, continuing the tutorial here, I went back and realized I did something a little bit wrong in the tutorial and I didn't save the PSD. So your image may look different than mine, but I've done every single step the same way so far. I've tiled it, did levels, did a high pass. So now all we need to do is do this process called boogie. After you do the levels, you can just duplicate your layer and invert it, set it to 50% so it should turn out gray, but then switch it over to overlay and duplicate that layer 4 times. So now we have 4 copies there. And then switch to the move tool, and with the arrow keys on your keyboard you can nudge each layer. You need to nudge the first layer to the left 1 pixel, second up, third right, and the last one down, and then merge all 4 of those layers, switch it back to overlay, and just take down the opacity until it gets to something that looks alright. So around, it just depends on the image, but around 15 looks good for this one, I think. And then take your overlay and your regular texture, duplicate that, merge, and then go up to filter, sharpen, unsharpen mask, and set the radius to like probably 1, whoops, set it to 1 or a really low number, like in between 1 and 1.5, and then just turn up the amount so you're getting a lot of like really gritty detail that comes out. And there you go. And that's a really good way to make your color map like really gritty and beautiful. So once we've got all that, throw everything into one folder and call it color or diffuse, whatever you want to do, and then duplicate that layer and call it normal. And we can probably get rid of some of this stuff, like these ones we don't need. And I'm gonna go on to the the leveled version and go to, or actually I'm gonna duplicate that first before I run the filter on it, and then go to the X normal filter, height to normals, and make sure this is on grayscale. Check the box for normalized source and do 0.4 smooth, and then give it a go. And you'll come up with this. Then you can do a levels on that and go through each channel and just take it in. Something like that. And then on the blue one, just take it into right there. And that really pushes out the detail in the normal map.